for the medals in the medal race. Hi, my name's Andy Rice, and with me is Asya Ikisla. And Asya, if you want to correct the pronunciation of your name, you're very welcome to.
No, that was fine.
Thank you. Asya, you've sailed here many times before, but you looked with surprise at these conditions.
Yes, because normally in Çeşme we're used to having wind from the north, which is steady, strong, and with a lot of waves. Whereas in the past, this is the fourth day now, we had wind from the south, where you have a pretty flat water and usually more trickier conditions and way lighter winds. But today we still have a pretty decent wind with, I would say, from 16 to 17 knots. It's still pretty flat, but I think it's steadier and we're going to have an interesting medal race.
We are probably not that far from the start procedure. I'm just trying to work out where we're at. I think I just heard a signal then. So we're getting pretty close to the start of this race. Now, we have some interesting scenarios. Sweden 349, Anton Dahlberg and Lovisa Karlsson have a 6-point lead over the Spanish, ESP 44. That is Jordi Jamar and Nora Brugman. Now, they are the only team that can take the gold medal away from Sweden. So the question is, will Anton Dahlberg and Lovisa Karlsson be match racing the Spanish? It's pretty windy conditions, but watch out for the Swedes getting very aggressive on that Spanish boat, ESP 44. And meanwhile, the Italians, in bronze position at the moment, Giacomo Ferrari and Bianca Caruso, they have a battle on their hands for bronze, don't they? A lot of boats behind them.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, in this medal race, 9 out of 10 boats can get a medal. And with the bronze, it's very close, especially within 4 boats. I would say it's a very close match for the bronze medal.
So, in fact, as you say, 9 out of 10 boats still in with the chance of a medal. That's a great medal race scenario. The only boat that's going round for fun is Slovenia 64. That's Tina Marak and Jakub Bozic. So they fought their way into the medal race, but the best they can do is maybe climb 1 or 2 spots today. But watch out for that bronze medal battle, and will Italy be able to hold on to that bronze medal, because there are many other teams champing at the bit to overtake them today. So you've sailed 470s before. This is going to be a workout for the crews today, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. I mean, in the upwind, it's actually better than like 11 knots where they have to pump all the time, but especially the downwind, I think is going to be very tough both on the crew and the helm physically, because they have to coordinate the pumping very well. And it's going to make all the difference, especially now in the medal race. They have 2 downwinds and 2 upwinds. So they're all going to be very close. And what's really special about the medal race, that each boat counts 2 points instead of 1, like in the fleet race. So it's going to be, I think, pretty physical in downwind and pretty close.
Just putting my prescription lenses on so I can just pick out the flags and just see what's going on. They are getting close to start time. The Oscar flag is flying, is that correct? So that means that it's free pumping.
Exactly. Now it is free pumping in the 470, so they can pump as much as they want to.
Okay, so that makes it very physical, but as Asya was just saying, it's so windy that actually pumping up wind isn't really going to have a lot of effect. Now, the team that really pioneered the downwind pumping to the level that we see today, that was the team of Jamar and Rodriguez from Spain, who went on to win the bronze medal in Tokyo 2020 last year. The new rules of mixed boys sailing with girls, men with women, means that very successful team had to split up into 2 separate Spanish boats, who today are fighting it out for those medals. So the old friends are still friends, but they're rivals as well. And it was interesting to see that Jamar and Brugman, they were the first boat out today, and they were really working the boat hard, even in practice. But then a capsize, I mean, you don't practice capsizes before a medal race, do you?
I guess it's better to capsize before the race than during the race. They just maybe got out the extra excitement, and now they can really concentrate on the race. That's what we say when we capsize right before the race, to make ourselves feel better. But
yeah,
I hope that's true as well.
I think you'll probably be right. I'd be very surprised if we see Spain 44 or any of these boats capsize today. They are pretty much the 10 best in the world. And I say world, this is a European Championships. We've had quite a few other teams turn up from I've just heard a signal there. If you, Asia, if you can just hold that for me for a moment. I'm just gonna set my stop.
Yeah, I think that was the 5-minute signal.
It looks closer than that to me.
I don't see the second flag though.
Okay.
The other one, I think that was the orange flag, so now it's the 5 minutes flag, and then we'll have to see the 4-minute signal.
Okay.
Okay.
They to me look like they're fairly well lined up for a start. Would they be that disciplined if they had more than 5 minutes to go? It looks to me like they're booking their spot for the start line. And I don't know, we'll have to see in a moment, but I think we need to keep our eyes out because I think we could be getting into the start very soon.
As that's the only flag, it's either 5 minutes or last minute, so yes.
Yeah, so we got a couple of boats looking to cross on port behind the fleet.
I think that's the last minute. They're about to start. Exactly. They just started. We have 2 boats that had a start in port.
One of them is Sweden 349. That's the gold medalists who have now tacked on to starboard just to the right of the committee boat from our position here. And I can't work out the other one yet.
I'm not sure. It might be one of the Spanish boats.
I was thinking the same thing. That's a boat that's tacked out again. Surely that's not the Swedes that have tacked out. Surely the Swedes have not already done 2 tacks. I don't know if Sweden is. Oh, someone's made a terrible maneuver there. That looks like the red bibs. That looks like the Italians have.
Yeah, I think it was the Italians. They had a tough time earlier.
And so we've got 3 going out to the right. We've got 7 going out to the left. And maybe, Asia, we should go downstairs and look at the monitor.
Exactly.
So just bear with us. We're just going to head downstairs on our film boat. Okay, so most boats going out to the right-hand side. Asia, what's your view about which side of the course is the way to go?
I would say at the moment it's pretty difficult to say. They now all tacked and they're going port to the right-hand side. Yesterday we had the right-hand side paying off when there was not enough wind, but I think today, as it's pretty windy, I would say close to the group, and the left might be good as well. But currently the right looks pretty well as well. But I think everybody's just going to try to stay close to each other as there are only 10 boats. And they're going to look out for the ones they want to attack to get the medal.
Okay, so the scenario is that Sweden is in gold medal position at the moment. It's provided that Spain doesn't finish, ESP 44 doesn't finish more than 2 boats in front of the Swedes, then the gold medal will be Sweden's. But that is the goal today for ESP 44 for Jordi Jamar and Nora Brugman, to see if they can get 2 boats between them. So the scenario for the bronze medal is that Italy 3, Giacomo Ferrari and Bianca Caruso, hold that spot at the moment, but the points are so tight. Any boat from below them all the way down to 9th place could take the bronze away from them. Now that's not likely to be Martin Wrigley and Ailey McIntyre from Great Britain, and unless all the chips fall in a certain way and they manage to win the race. If the British can win the race and other boats finish in the correct order for them, then there is a mathematical possibility for Great Britain to win the race today. But that's not the most likely scenario. The more likely scenario is that it's going to be one of the German boats. That we got 2 German boats here that have got a serious chance of the bronze medal. That's Louise Vanzer and Philipp Autenrieth, or the husband and wife team, Malta and Anastasia Winkel. So they're in a really good position to attack the Italians. There is also the French, Hippolyte Marchetti and Alois Retornaz. Retornaz, the Olympic bronze medalists from the Tokyo Games last year. They are still in the hunt for a medal. And then Nitai Hassan and Noah Lazri from Israel. Nitai Hassan actually won this championship last year, the mixed European championships, but the competition is a lot higher this year now that the whole fleet has gone into mixed. I don't know how much you know about these individual teams, Asya, but these wind conditions, who do you think is going to be enjoying these wind conditions today out of those teams?
That is very hard to say, as I know better their experiences as in their old teams, as now most of the teams are just paired up. But what we've seen, that in heavy wind conditions, we had the Germans performing really well. But the ones who performed the best in the stronger winds, they're not currently racing in the medal race. But for today, I would say the French team could be quite experienced with the heavy winds. But it's also not too wavy. I'm also, I would say, believing in the Swedish team because they've been consistent in different wind conditions and they had their way around. And they're both very, very experienced as they both went to the Olympics. And the helm is also last year's world champion and last year's in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, the silver medalists. On the other hand, the teams just paired up and the Spanish were pretty strong in the light winds. So we'll see what they do, but we also said that we have 2 Spanish teams, each having one of the most well-performing in the downwind pumping. So it would be interesting to compare the 2 Spanish teams pumping, as they have half of the team that worked really well in the past years. So I guess we will also have to see what happens in the upwind, and they're pretty close. We had the first boats just turning the first mark.
Okay, so first boat round, and the first boat has quite a lead, and as soon as we can identify who that is, we will let you know. But that is one significant lead at the moment. Second spinnaker goes up, third spinnaker looking a lot more compressed from second all the way back to the last boat, but someone has got a huge jump on the rest of the fleet right now. It's interesting to me that Sweden chose to start on port tack at the start and then tack soon afterwards onto port. That seemed like a strange choice for me. Why do you think they would have done that?
I think if that happened, I haven't seen it, what exactly happened, but what I would say is that they couldn't have the position they wanted to have, so they didn't have the best starts, and they tacked in order to have clear wind and realized they wanted to go with the group instead. So their plan was not to go to the right, but they just needed to do that in order to have a clear wind, which is really important in the starts. And in the downwind, one of the boats have a clear lead, which is, I think that lead might go even bigger, as the rest of the group is very close, so they'll be forcing each other and they're going to be, if we can say, messing with each other to get an upper hand, while the first boat is very comfortable right now, so they just need to go as fast as possible, and they don't have to mind anyone else. Now what we see is that we have the first boat and then two boats, the second and the third one pretty close, and then another pack of three. They already started jibing, and I'll hope we'll be able to see who's the top 5 at the moment coming to the downwind mark. Now bear in mind this is the medal race, so we have an upwind, a downwind, then another upwind, downwind, and a very, very small reach. So they're about to complete the second leg out of 4, if we cannot count the last one. They're getting closer to the downwind marks. It's going to be a gate, and are you able to see which boat is coming? I can only see the Slovenians in the 4th position at the moment.
So that best guess at the moment is...
France or Italy?
I was thinking Italy.
I think that might be the Italians coming first to the downwind mark at the moment, which is a good sign, as they were. That is the best thing they can do to defend their bronze medal that was up for grabs for many, many teams. Well, we were wrong. It was so now it's the French team that turned first in the downwind mark. So in first position with a good lead, we have the French. And now the rest of the group is very packed, and they're having a fight. In third position, we had the Italians, and now the rest of the group just went to the other mark, where we have the Spanish pretty close, and then GBR. The Swedish team is, I think, in 8th position. And they are very close. I would say, except the French, the rest of the fleet is just very close to each other. It would be great if we could see the Italians and the ones who are fighting for the bronze medal.
So you saw an Italian team go round. Which do you think it was Italy 3, or was it was that Italy 3 that was in the top 3?
I'm not sure. I couldn't see Italy turning the mark, honestly, but they were very close. With the boats were very close. It was difficult to see where the Italians were.
Yeah. If Italy's in the top 3, then it's doing enough to win the bronze medal.
Exactly. That would be their thing. Also, they either need to be in top 3, or the ones who are very close to them need to be in the bottom 3, let's say.
So if Sweden is back in 8th, we didn't manage to see the other ones, but that is that is that Spanish? That's Germans. Yeah, it's too hard for us to tell, I'm afraid. We're going to have to wait until the finish to see who's who and what's what. But the French have a huge lead, and that is a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't know that they would have the legs on the rest of the fleet the way they did. They've obviously sailed an incredible first windward leg.
Yes, exactly. I think they had a good start, and then, well, we weren't really able to see what happened, but they were already having a good lead in the upwind. And so in the downwind, as they were already comfortable and not having their wind being cut off or have to change their strategies because of the other boats, I think their lead got even stronger in the downwind, as all the other boats were really packed and they were like cutting each other's wind. But the first one, if you have a lead, it's always easier in the downwind, as you're very comfortable. You just sail as you want.
Yeah, it's hard to see anyone managing to get back to the French in this race. So the French are doing everything they can to see if they can get their hands on that bronze medal, but it really depends on where Italy is. Italy currently in the bronze medal position as they started this race, and as long as Italy stays in the front few, then they've probably done enough to stay ahead for the bronze medal ahead of the French.
What's interesting that now most of the fleet is on the right-hand side, where there's one boat who really went all the way to the left. They just tacked, and we'll see if it paid off. But that is interesting too. They just left everyone, went to the left, and now they tack to see if it works out.
Right, so that's pretty risky tactics. I wonder how much it's shifting out there. It's very offshore here, isn't it? So there's probably some pretty big shifts in amongst the gusts and the lulls as well from this wind direction from the south.
Yes, when it's from the south, it's always trickier. You can have little breezes coming where the wind is different, and it's usually more of a patchwork with the wind. But today, since it was windier, I think the shifts were smaller and less significant than yesterday, where yesterday it was already light winds, so the one who had a lucky breeze was really having an advantage over the others, whereas today I'm not out there, but I would assume the wind shifts are less significant than lighter winds.
Yeah, that's probably true. The boats are going to keep on moving whatever position they are on the race course today, whereas boats were pretty much stopped at one point yesterday. It was, as we say in Britain, a game of snakes and ladders yesterday. It's a little bit more straightforward today.
So now we have two boats coming from the left, and I think it's working out for them. I feel like from the left, they're passing the boats coming from the right. So maybe it was a good decision to bang the left corner. But the bad thing is we don't know who's the boat that went to the left, so we also don't know which position they turned the mark. But I would assume if you turned the first, you wouldn't just leave everyone. I would say when you bang a corner, it's usually because you weren't doing really good, so you just take all your chances, or you know for sure that it's going to work out. But for now, I think for the second downwind, it was more so the left-hand side that paid off.
Okay, well, let's see how things work out. We know that the French team had an incredibly good lead around the windward mark first time. Let's see if they can hold on to that, and will there be enough place changing behind them for the Italians to be able to for the Italians to hold on to that bronze medal, or will the French be able to take it away from them? We'll have to wait and find out.
So what do you think about the combination of the new teams? Because we have a lot of World Championship medalists, we have a lot of Olympic medalists, but all of them in different boats with different pairings. Some of them paired with their, the other teams that went to the games, like the Italians. For instance, Ferrari and Caruso, they both went to Tokyo, but one raced in the males and one in the females, where there are other groups where you have an Olympic medalist and someone that we didn't really know his name in the 470. So we have very interesting pairings, yet all new crews. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this has been a big revelation this week. I think this is the first major championship that the 470 has held in the new mixed lineup since Tokyo 2020. They've had a couple of events at Parma and here earlier in the year, but I think this fleet is still finding out what's working, what's not working. Everyone is still wondering, is there a best way round? Male helm, female crew, or female helm crew? That debate is still going on in the NACRA 17 after almost 10 years of mixed racing there. So there's no clear answer, which I think is a great thing. It's really good to see that we've got both combinations here. For example, with the Spanish, you've got Silvia Mas, last year's world champion, sailing with Nico Rodriguez, Olympic bronze medalist, and then The other half of that Olympic bronze medal team at the helm of the other boat, the other Spanish boat in this medal race, is Jordi Jamar, sailing with Nora Brugman, who used to race for the USA. So we've got two pretty evenly matched teams there. Some people say that when you've got pumping conditions, it's so physical that the male crews have an advantage over the female crews. I've heard a number of people say that, but it can't be that much of an advantage because we've still got lots of very successful teams with male helms and female crews. And Ailey McIntyre, the gold medalist from the women's 470 last year at Tokyo 2020, firmly believes that that women are just as well placed to do the crewing job on this boat as any of the men. So it goes to show that the differences aren't that big, which is a really healthy situation. Basically, as long as you can, you've got the right body type, either to be a helm or a crew. It doesn't matter what sex you are. There's probably room for you to sail in a 470, which I think is a good thing.
Yes, exactly. I think we all had our judgments, and a lot of us believed that having a male crew was more of an advantage. But as today, looking at the leaderboard, we see very different pairings, and I think that shows a lot of things. It also shows that, first of all, women can be very good crews as well, and that pumping is not the only thing that matters in 470. There are so many other things, and that pumping that they talked about is actually a very small window where you constantly pump in the upwind. You have to have the Oscar flag, and it doesn't have to be too windy, so you have a window of maybe 5 knots where it's extremely physical in the upwind, and there are so many other things that matters. And here, I think a lot of the teams, they're also finding out a lot about each other, as this is one of the first big events they sail together. I know some pairings have been only sailing for a couple months. So it is very interesting, and it will be interesting to see if some leaderboard will change next year when they're all going to be more comfortable with each other and have their team dynamics better.
Yes, they're still in the learning phases of what in some ways feels like a new class. The equipment is just the same, but this reordering from male and female sailing in separate teams to now male and female racing together has really changed things. You can see just how dynamic they are coming down to the finish here, and it looks like things have tightened up between the front few. So the gaps are smaller, and the leader is just about to go through the leeward gate for the last time. The leader's just jibing. That will be the leader's final jibe, but there's somebody coming in quickly on starboard as well. So it's actually quite a tight race into the finish.
I think the first boat is still the French. The second, I believe it's a Spanish team, although I cannot say which one. In third position close, that might be the Italians, because I feel like it's the red bibs coming in. So now they're coming to the finish line, which is very close to us. We have indeed the French that led the race from the beginning, coming to the first position. And then in second, can you see which one?
Well, let's just congratulate the French for winning the medal race. What a great way to finish for them, for Hippolyte Marchetti and Alois Retornes, absolutely ruling that race. And now call the next ones across the line for us. It looks like Israel in second.
Third, Germany 13. And then we have the Italians coming in fourth position, followed by Spanish 18. Then we have the Slovenians. I wonder where the Swedish team is. And Spain 44, they were fighting for the gold medal. Now, after the Slovenians, we have GBR, Sweden, and Spain that were fighting for the gold medal. They're right behind each other. So Spain did not manage to have the gold medal, as they are right behind the Swedish team. And in the 10th position, we have Germany, the second German team. So we didn't see it clearly, but I would assume that if the first and the second boats from the leaderboard today are entering in 8th and 9th position right behind each other, I think there was quite a match racing position.
So yes, I was just looking at the running order as they, as you were calling the boats across the line there, and in first place was France, as we said, with quite a good lead. In second was Israel. Third was Germany. Germany 13. Fourth was Italy. Fifth was Spain. And just coming past us, we see the gold and silver medalists congratulating. Whoa! And the Swedish boat has just crashed into the back of our film boat. They got a little bit carried away with the celebrations there, and after sailing a fantastic race and a fantastic regatta, they smacked the boat into the back of our commentary boat. So quite a dramatic finish there for the Swedes, but they won't worry too much about broken gel coat because at least they know that they've got that gold medal secured. So in first overall is Sweden. They get the gold medal. Spain, even though they finish 9th in that race just behind Sweden, they get the silver medal. Italy was 4th in that race. That was good enough for them to get the bronze medal. And the French, by winning that race, they move up to 4th. Spain 18, they get 5th. Israel was 2nd in that race. They go up to 6th. Germany 13 are in 7th. In 8th place is Germany 10. They were last in the medal race, but they finish in 8th place. GBR is in 9th, and Slovenia, that started the day in 10th, finishes in 10th. So congratulations to Sweden for winning the European Championship 2022 and sailing a pretty solid series, but a bit of a misstep there at the end, getting carried away with the celebrations there.
Yeah, I saw the boat. They have a little boat work to do on the shore, but right now I don't think they care that much. They were celebrating and they were hugging each other. They just had their pictures taken with the Swedish flag. I think they're pretty happy. And, well, the fact that they won the Europeans could be a well enough excuse to forget about the incident with the boat. But I think nothing too serious happened. But that was definitely the excitement that played a role in there.
Anton Dahlberg, he always looks so focused. Every photo that I see of him, he's got that look of focus and intent, but having crossed the finish line, he just forgot where he was, and well, suddenly it turned to celebration and jubilation and forgot where he was. And it's quite a big boat we're on. It's quite, I mean, you would have thought he would have seen it coming. But anyway, a little bit of amusement there at the end. And so, yeah, well done to Sweden. They've sailed a really, really solid week. I think Jordi Jamar and Nora Brugman, having worn the yellow jersey for the first half of the week, maybe will be disappointed that they got the silver. But at the same time, they've got another opportunity in a few weeks' time at the end of October to see if they can beat the Swedes, and that's at the World Championship in Israel.
Yes, exactly. And I've heard that the Spanish team, they came to Çeşme right before the race because of SailGP, and so they weren't really used to the conditions. Although we've also seen that the conditions has changed a lot from the training days to the last days. But I would say the Swedes sailed quite consistently in different weather conditions. They really deserved this win. But the Spanish team was also really good. So exactly, we're going to see what happened in Israel for the World Championship. And well, today, as close the points were, at the end for the medalists, nothing has changed. So they.
So Asya, interesting last race. In the end, the medalists stayed the same, but it wasn't obvious until the end, was it? Italy had to work hard to get that bronze medal, and looks like Sweden did do a bit of match racing on the Spanish in the end.
Yes, exactly. It was pretty windy, and there were the bronze medal especially was up to grabs for many boats, but the Italians did a good job. It was, I think, pretty. Not certain at all in the beginning, but at the end, it was a good medal race. And, well, nothing has changed. But Even though there wasn't a dramatic change at the end, I think they had a pretty good race in good conditions, and that concluded the week.
And we've seen great conditions here all week on Ilicha Bay. Every day has been different, but every day has been a great sailing day. We didn't lose any races to no wind or too much wind. You've sailed here many, many times, and I haven't yet sailed here, but this to me is one of the best racing venues I've ever seen. There's a lot to be proud of here.
No, for sure. Çeşme is one of the biggest sailing hubs in Turkey, so all of our nationals, most of our training races, training camps, they're always here. And like we say that there is almost no way in Çeşme to have regattas without complete races. That's very, very rare. And usually in winter when the season is a bit confused. But normally I would say Çeşme is seriously one of the best venues in the world with constant wind, steady wind. And here we've seen many different conditions. So it is definitely a very good place to sail.
Well, from Asya and from me, Andy Rice, thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to all the medalists, and thank you, Çeşme, Turkey, for an amazing European Championship for the 470. See you again soon.